Hello again, I'm Robert Fithin. This is going to be a quick video because it's only about one album. I finally got my Grail that I've been talking about in a few videos along the way. Finally broke down and just said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and get it. And that is Tangerine Dream by the band Kaleidoscope from 1967. Now this is the 2017 reissue. This is the exact one I wanted with the whole like autographs on the back and the gatefold sleeve and the color vinyl and the inserts and the bonus 7-inch single, all of that. It's the exact one I wanted. You know, it would have been nice to have an original, but those are like in the thousands of dollars, so this will do. But yeah, this isn't cheap either. That's why I had to wait to get it. I wanted to get it where I could find somebody to put it on Discogs or online somewhere and for relatively cheaper. And that's exactly what happened. This is the only album that I ever had on there where I actually got notifications on eBay when it would be listed. So as soon as it was on, snapped it right up, and now it is mine. I finally have my Grail. Now this is not hard rock. This is more of like, you know, very fantasy kind of fairy tale like Psychedelia from 1967. It's very, very English. I'm not really sure why, but I absolutely fell in love with this album the first time I heard it. There is just some sort of je ne sais quoi. There's just something about it that really connected immediately. It may not be your thing, but I definitely have always liked this album. Got the CD a while back. You know, had this for years at this point. This is actually this album and their follow-up, Faintly Blowing, with a couple of single, well, actually more than a couple, like 5 or 6 single mixes on here too. It's a double CD set, so this is the way I've heard it for a long time, but finally have this on a record. As you can see, it is very nicely done here. Nice tip-on jacket, nice matte finish. Nice gatefold here with all of the lyrics in there as well. And as I mentioned, it is autographed by the 2 surviving members, Peter Daltrey, who does vocals and keyboards, and Danny Bridgman, who plays drums. Danny Bridgman, who is this guy with the absolutely perfect hair, is actually on YouTube, or at least he was a few years ago. So he's still active, and these guys actually got back together again and toured parts of England, or I'm not sure if it was the UK or just England, but it's been a few years now. This came out in 2017, so it's been a few years. But if I had known that then, wow, I might have even gone to England to see them. Still a dream someday to go to Europe, but it's going to happen. I probably told my story about how I had all saved up for that and planned it out and watched all kinds of YouTube videos about what to expect when you travel abroad and all of that. Was ready to, I had the days off, was absolutely ready like in 2 days to book the hotel and get the plane tickets and all that. That was March of 2020. And we all know what happened in March of 2020. So yeah, needless to say, my trip to Europe never happened, but I digress. Tangerine Dream by the band Kaleidoscope is an absolutely psychedelic must-hear if you're into that kind of music. 1967, so it was right there on the forefront of that particular sound, and this pressing sounds great. One of the things I noticed right away is this album cover is oversized. This is like now the biggest album cover I have. I'll show you a contrast here using, of course, AC/DC's Back in Black. That's what you do. I actually wanted to use this because it's totally black and you can easily see how much bigger this is. But look how much bigger this album cover is. It's the same size, you know, I guess you would call this horizontally, but vertically, no, this would be horizontal. It's way bigger. I mean, if I put this, line it up on the bottom, you can see just how much larger this is. I don't know why they made this album cover so large, but thankfully, it came with its own outer sleeve here with a hype sticker, so I don't have to worry about trying to find a sleeve big enough for this because I definitely want to protect that cover. Now, not only do you get the great album, you get a nice inner sleeve here that has like, you know, I'm assuming the original tape box with the song titles on there. Looks nice. This wonderful orange vinyl, because it is a Tangerine Dream. Yeah, orange vinyl here. On the original replica of the original font label there, so it looks great. You get a nice bonus 7-inch a bonus 7-inch single, an early version of the song Kaleidoscope, and the B-side is their rare song A Dream for Julie, which is a great little ditty. It sounds great on a 45. That's how it should be listened to. You get a nice little replica of the lyrics for the song Kaleidoscope, handwritten. Similar looking to the Taylor Swift little card that comes in her new album. So now I know how the Swiftie fans feel with their little card in there, because now I've got my Kaleidoscope card. And whoever owned this album before me, because it did come, you know, open, but it's still in mint condition, actually was nice enough to put a little magazine article in here from England about the resurgence of the popularity of Kaleidoscope. And so it's got nice write-up in here with all kinds of photos and everything. When Two Eras Kaleidoscope is what it's called. Very clever. So that was nice for them to put that in there. And the backstage features the beginning of an article on Lita Ford. But yeah, as far as the you know, bonus stuff and what you get with it, that's what's in here. That's what's in here. The you know, the color vinyl, the bonus 7-inch, and the all of this stuff. But it's really all about the music on here. That's why I fell in love with this release. And great songs in here. Starts off with sort of their theme song called Kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope, Kaleidoscope. I wish I could sing as well as Peter Daltrey. I cannot. By the way, other band members include two that have since passed away. Eddie Poomer, who plays lead guitar, and Steve Clark, who is on bass and flute. And unfortunately, like I said, they have passed away, so their signatures are not on here. I'm not sure who replaced them when they were doing the tour. Actually, I think when they were touring, Eddie Poomer was, or I don't know if it's Poomer or Pumer, was still alive. But Kaleidoscope starts it off, their theme song. Says the band's name in it 28 times. And it's only like a 2-minute song. So that's advertising right there. And I'm not even including the times where they just say Kaleida. Just the times when they say Kaleidoscope 28 times. But a fabulous song about all the colors and things that you can see in everyday life, and how everyday life can be wonderful and colorful if you just open your eyes and look around at all the different things you can see. Please Excuse My Face, a nice Tinder ballad follows that, which I've already apologized for my face in earlier videos, so I'm not going to do that again. But yeah, it's a sad little tune there. Dive Into Yesterday is a real gem. That's the third track on here. And it's great to dive into, great guitar on there. Kaleidoscope, by the way, that the first song has great drums. I love the drumming on this whole album. It's got that really tight, you know, tom-toms and just a drum kit. None of these flourishes that would come later with rock music. Sounds bam, bam, just hitting out the beats there. But yeah, love the drum sound on this. But Dive Into Yesterday is a great song to hear in 2024 when you're listening to a record from 1967. They're wanting to dive into yesterday, and now we're doing that again. So we've set up this whole, like, you know, recurring, recurring, I don't know, a paradox? I guess it's not a paradox, but you're diving into yesterday when you hear something from 1967. Mr. Small, the Watch Repairman. It seems like in these English psychedelic albums, there's always a watch repairman or a clockmaker or a shoe repairman. Like, I think the Gun album has one of those. But yeah, here it's a watch repairman in his story. Flight from Ashia is the fourth track. Or the fifth track. That is a masterpiece. That is this sort of eerie, terrifying song about being in this airplane. You know it's going down. They're in the plane. It's going to crash. Nobody knows where we are. It's a brilliant song. Better than DOA from Blood Rock. A little less kind of explicit, certainly, than that song. Then you get Murder. The murder of Louis Talani, and he swears he didn't, he's not going to hurt anybody, but apparently there's been murder, so, you know, someone was hurt, obviously. Apparently it was Louis Talani. Side 2 starts out with Further Reflections in the Room of Percussion. I told you the percussion on here is great. That's a great psychedelic song with all of these lyrics. My God, the spiders are everywhere, it says. So, yeah, you get it. Right. The spider, you know what's going on when the spiders are everywhere. So, yeah, that's just a great song as well. Dear Nellie Goodrich is okay. It's more of a gentle love song. It's kind of like a love letter to someone named Nellie Goodrich. It's an okay track. It's not my favorite on here. Holiday Maker. It sounds like a commercial for like a beach or something like that in the 60s where it's got laughing children in it. It's got these horns that sound like, you know, almost like a Herb Albert Tijuana brass type horns. And it has a different sound. It's like mixed a little bit different than the rest of the album. So I don't know if it's an earlier recording from these guys, but it definitely floats off into this whole different vibe there with Holiday Maker. But great nonetheless. A Lesson Perhaps follows that. Definitely my least favorite track on here. On the CD, I would always skip over it once it got like 30 seconds into it. It's basically a poem reading. about this king that wants followers, and I guess the queen doesn't even like it, doesn't respect the king at all. There's a fly buzzing around. There's dust getting unsettled every time the king talks. It's, you know, it is what it is. Not my favorite track on here. The Sky Children, though, is the final track. And it is this fantasy world where everyone is innocent and these kids are flying around and they go off into this magic land where they're children forever. Well, maybe not forever, because now they have to leave the magic land because they're not children anymore, but everything stays there. It just goes on and on and on. You don't want it to end, though. It's this magical type song. This entire album, with the exception of the one song, but this poem, is incredible. Like I said, I loved it the first time I heard it. Absolutely brilliant songs on here. Definitely right in that vein of English psychedelic music of 1967. If you're into that and you have not heard this yet, you definitely need to check this out. Kaleidoscope, Tangerine Dream. Like I've said in a few videos, my Grail, you know, I know that word gets overused a lot, but this actually was. I know people are coming on Vinyl Community channel videos talking about, I finally got my Grail. It was Fleetwood Mac, rumor, you know, come on. But yeah, this was and is, and now I have it, and glad to finally have this. And they do have the follow-up, like I said, called Faintly Blowing. One day I'll get that on a record as well, but I absolutely had to get this one. They actually continue as a band under a different name as well. Their sound changes slightly, but they become Fairfield Parlor for a couple of albums, and I'm going to pick those up someday too. The problem is I'm in the U.S., and these albums from these guys are very hard to find here. Like, I've never seen any of them anywhere in a store, first of all. So if you're going to get them here, especially in the Midwest, you've pretty much got to get them through the mail. You have to special them, order them through Discogs. You know, hopefully a seller has one that's in great condition that's not as expensive, but yeah, these never appear in the store. There is another re-release of this that came later that I didn't know about until recently. Came out last year, apparently. That is a splatter orange vinyl. It doesn't have a lot of the extra stuff, so I didn't really want that one as much. But if you do want a cheaper version of this and just want the record, you can consider getting that one. There's also I think it's 5 Minutes Back is the label. That reissue came out in the 80s, still in the early, the first vinyl era. So apparently that pressing sounds really good. That is, again, not quite as sought after and expensive as this one. Doesn't have all the extras. And there's of course the original, which is way, way up in price. 4 figures for that. I saw somebody had bought one for like $500 on Discogs, the original pressing, that didn't even have the cover. It was literally just the record. So that gives you an idea of how expensive an original this is. But yeah, glad to have this one. Tangerine Dream from Kaleidoscope. Excellent album that I now have. And so I don't really have a Grail right now. I'll have to come up with another one because everybody needs a Grail, right? All right, my name is Robert Fithen. Thank you so much for watching. And I will talk to you again next time. Let me know what your Grail is in the comments.